Okay, brothers, today we have another tier list video. Today's a nice one. It's the aesthetic Spartan muscle tier list video, and I know you like the last one. This time, no microphone audio quality bullshit. But anyway, let's get started right into this whole tier list. So, first, we have the tibialis muscle. No one knows what this muscle is. No one has heard of it. Nobody bothers training it, and this just shows how much of sheep we are. I myself don't even train this muscle. You have your calves at the back of your leg, right? And then you have this muscle in front of your leg. So the opposite of your calves. Think of it as like you know how the quads are like the opposite of the hamstrings? The tibialis muscle is the opposite of the calves. So it's in front of your leg here, right? And tell me, bro, like you see this muscle line, this muscle over here? Tell me that does not look good. That looks really, really, really good. Like it's actually a very aesthetic. Oh shit. It's actually a very aesthetic muscle, and I don't know why people don't really train it. Maybe it's just because there are no machines used for training it. But an exercise you can do for them is basically not tying, but putting your leg through the hole of a kettlebell and just putting your leg over a bench and doing tibialis raises. I'll try and show up a video of what that looks like, right? But people should definitely be training this muscle more. It actually makes your leg looks like an athlete's leg. If you look at athletes who like do a lot of football, soccer, whatever sports it is, the front of their leg actually looks nice. It looks aesthetic. People neglect this muscle so much, man, and I don't know why. So for this, our first muscle, the tibialis muscle, is going in the alpha tier. Next, we have calves. Calves are pretty good, man. Calves are all right, but I feel like people give them way too much hype for what they're worth. Yeah, they look nice. They look whatever, depending on your muscle insertion and everything. But I just feel like people give them way too much credit that they're due. Oh, I can't grow my calves. Just do what you can, and if you can't, then whatever. Get over it. And so for this one, we have calves in common tier. Next, glutes. Glutes are like the pinnacle. A lot of people think glutes are for women. Bro, glutes are the most like athletic, and they are the most powerful and biggest muscle in your body. If you ever look at big like strong athletes, you'll notice they all have big glutes. Glutes give you the 3D pop from the side, and they make you look masculine as fuck. They make you look strong, they make you look powerful, and they make you look like a beefcake. Like you look good with glutes, right? These flat, like literally these small legs, they're not nice without glutes, man. I've heard this before and it's so true. Your glutes are like the shoulders of your leg. These make your arm look really good. Same with your glutes, man. If you want your legs to look like beefy, to look good, put your glutes into like some squats, put some effort into them and allow them to grow. Don't be scared of them looking feminine or whatever, because that's bullshit. It's the exact opposite. Big glutes on a man makes you look more masculine, makes you look stronger, makes you look more intimidating, makes you look more beefy. And if you want to bulk up, building your glutes will help you a lot. So for this, we have our first Spartan tier. Front delts. People train these too much and then they start doing front delt exercises. There's no point of you doing front delt exercises when you do bench press, incline bench press, chest press, all these, these pressing movements, overhead press, behind the neck, all these pressing movements. You don't need an extra front delt movement. And in fact, most people have these overdeveloped, leading to kyphotic posture, which is basically hunchback posture. When you're basically like this, when you're basically, your shoulders just forward like this. We don't like that. That kind of fucks you up and it makes you look like shit. We don't want this stupid bad posture. People overtrain these. That's why, like, you always see people who are at the gym specifically who just are like rounded gorillas. So for this one, the overtraining of this epidemic of overtraining of the front delt puts this into our first dog shit tier muscle. Next, we have lats. Lats, wonderful. That's a guy with a wide back. So lats we have over here. Lats are easily in S tier. Why? Because you know how important the V taper is for attractiveness. The V taper is like the hourglass figure for men. The same way we see the hourglass figure for women, women see the V taper as the hourglass figure for men. So when you're literally wide, you're wide, you look good, you have that aesthetic V taper, most of it comes from your lats, okay? And the way you train these muscles, by the way, is, I'll explain in a second. The way you train these muscles is through pull-ups, right? It's through pull-ups. The best exercise for lats is pull-ups. The best, hands down, the best exercise for lats is pull-ups. And once you get to weighted pull-ups, oh, your lats are going to blow up. Next, we have hamstrings. Hamstrings are quite a good muscle to train, to be honest. Obviously, you need to train your posterior chain because most people have strong, anterior chains, which is the front of the body, but they really neglect the back side of the body just because it's not a muscle you can see when you look in the mirror. But hamstrings are super important. They don't really look aesthetic, but they are very important for the overall health of your leg and the overall beef to your leg. So hamstrings will go into our based tier. Next, we have the serratus anterior muscle, and this is a bit of an unknown muscle as well. The serratus anterior is actually this muscle over here. It's not the abs, it's not anything here. It is this one over here, the staircase, kind of like the ribs that you have over here. It's not actually the ribs. There's a muscle covering your ribs called the serratus anterior. So the way you train these is through, you can do weighted crunches or you can do Russian twists. I prefer not to do Russian twists, to be honest, because they grow your obliques. I don't want to have too big of obliques. So I just prefer not to do Russian twists. The way you train them is just to decline crunches, any type of crunch with weight, and also squats, because squats build your whole core, and these are included. Squats and deadlifts. So the serratus anterior muscle goes into the alpha tier. And by the way, the way you train your hamstring muscles, because I forgot to tell you how to do that, Romanian deadlifts and leg curls. Next, we have abs, the classic muscle that everybody wants. Oh my god, I want abs. You'd think of the guys in high school who had abs, and they always got the girl. Abs are cool muscle. They're a great muscle. They signify leanness and beauty, and especially if you do your deadlifts and your squats, you're gonna have big blocky abs, and especially if you do weighted crunches, you will have nice abs. You will have abs that pop through even at a higher body fat percentage. Abs are a very aesthetic muscle, man. They go right into the alpha tier. Next, we have the sternocleidomastoid, which is your neck, basically the sides of your neck's thickness. This muscle, I will always love it for the rest of my life. This muscle saved me from being paralyzed for life or dead. I made a video titled I Survived Falling Off a Cliff. And this muscle and my lower back, because I trained them, they fucking saved my life, or they saved me from being paralyzed, and so I'm eternally grateful for that. But in terms of aesthetics, these look really fucking good, man. These make you look masculine. These make your face actually look better and more manly. And when you grow your neck, you can try this experiment on yourself. Grab a straight picture of your face. I invite you to try this experiment, and you will really believe me when I say this shit. Grab a picture of your face, literally just a picture of your face looking at the camera, and Photoshop a smaller necked version of you and a bigger necked version of you. Even though your face itself did not change, the bigger necked version of you will look more attractive. So easy to grow. The way you do this is by neck curls, right? Look into neck curls, just put a plate on your forehead and just do some neck curls. That's how you grow your sternocleidomastoid and you grow your neck thickness. So this goes into high S tier, right? Let me readjust these so that the ones on the left are better than the ones on the right. Next, we have chest. This is your knight's armor of your body. This is like the armor basically of your body. When you have this big barrel chest, it's like a very nice, thing that you see immediately. It stares at you, just this big area of your body. Chest, obviously, man, we all know this. Chest looks really good. People train it a lot for a reason. Chest looks fucking good, man. There ain't much to say, especially if you have a nice upper chest. That's what gives the actors in the movies this really, really nice pec area. And if we zoom in here, this guy has a very developed upper chest. Look at this. It's just bulging through his collarbone, which is awesome. It really is awesome. So chest goes into alpha tier. So the way you train your chest is through simply bench pressing. And if you want to train your upper chest, incline dumbbell pressing is my favorite. And you can also do, regular chest flies for building your chest as well. But honestly, the best way to grow your chest is to get strong at pressing. That really is the truth. Next, we have forearms. I had a physics teacher in high school. He would always wear buttoned up shirts and everything, but he had these magnificent forearms, and the whole class would literally just stare at his forearms. Everyone could tell he was jacked literally by just his forearms. Imagine throughout your daily life, you're not going to be shirtless, right? Throughout your daily life, you always have your forearms exposed and your neck exposed. Why don't you train them more? Why don't you train them more so they become bigger and more vascular and they have the striations that we want, right? Like these ones. Why don't you train them more, man? These are very, very good. They make you look jacked. Immediately, I can tell a lifter is a lifter in normal street clothes if he has jacked forearms. So jacked forearms definitely goes into the S tier. And the way to train these is through dumbbell wrist curls You can do them like this way for the forearm muscle here, or this way for the back of the forearm muscle. These are really good ways to train your forearms, and you can also train them with the farmer's walk. So look into those exercises, brother. Next, we have the lower traps. So this muscle over here, okay? And again, this is a beautiful back. I wonder who it belongs to. So yeah, this muscle over here, this little area, not anything else, the middle of it, right? This is what these are your lower traps. Very, very aesthetic muscle. But here's the thing, they're only visible when you're actually like purposely flexing, right? So if you're just standing around, they don't really show that much. And for that, we're putting it into the based tier. And the way to train these is rows. Barbell rows, chest supported rows, just doing rows. These will train your lower traps. Very, very important. It would be an alpha tier, but I'd put it in the base tier simply because it's just hard to show when you're not flexing, right? These terms are kind of funny, alpha based. Next, we have quads. Quads is a really nice muscle, very aesthetic if you know what you're doing and you have the tiered up quad, but it isn't the most aesthetic. So I would put this into based tier. You don't really see legs most of the time, do you? And people usually comment on, upper body muscles more than, legs, especially when they're covered. They would be in alpha, but they're mostly covered. But if you're in shorts all the time, then whatever, alpha. It just depends on how often your quads are visible. And the way to train these is through squats, through deadlifts, and through leg extensions, as well as leg presses. These will grow your quads. Next, lower back. The muscle that saved my life as well. You have this Christmas tree lower back over here. These are the muscles that kind of envelop your spine. When I fell off the cliff, the tree that hit my lower back kind of it basically hit me here, around this area, and my lower back saved me, man. So I'm super grateful for it. In terms of aesthetics, though, it really isn't that aesthetic. I'm not gonna lie. Like it's all right. It doesn't look that good. When you have back thickness, it is pretty nice, but it's not like something to wow over. People usually look at other things more than just how thick your back is, right? So when people look at your back, they don't really look down at this area as much. It's usually like the upper area. So lower back will either go in common or based. Just for the fact of the functionality and the fact that it can save your fucking life, I'd put it in based. Next, we have upper back and traps. So upper back is just this whole area here, and obviously the traps are over here. This muscle looks really fucking good. I don't care what you say. It makes you look beefy. It makes you look like you came from a whole fucking anime, bro. So upper back and traps definitely going into Spartan tier. The way you train your lower back, by the way, is through deadlifts. The way you train your upper back and your traps is through barbell shrugs, dumbbell shrugs, and the most important exercise that actually grew most of my upper back and gave me this beefiness, this thickness. It gave me this thickness, right? Is an exercise called rack pulls. Now, when you come to this channel, you don't hear specific, you don't hear common advice like, oh, you train your traps through dumbbell shrugs, because you can, but if you really want like some gate-kept advice as to how I grew this shit, do rack pulls. Heavy fucking rack pulls, especially if you're bulking. This shit blew up my upper back and traps. So look into rack pulls above the knee, right? Rack pulls above the knee, awesome exercise for your upper back and your traps. There's a YouTuber called Leonidas. He's one of the guys I really look up to when it comes to fitness training and all that stuff. And he's the person who introduced me to that. Awesome guy. Go show him some love if you want to. Next, we have the rear delts. Rear delts, without the slightest shadow of a doubt, go right up into S tier. And the reason they go into S tier is simply because, let me put them right here actually. The reason they go into S tier is because, first of all, they give your delts that pop. And the second thing is they give you proper posture. They give you good posture. They give your delts that pop from the side and from from behind. You actually have 3D delts now when you have rear delts that look good. So definitely train your rear delts. The way you train these is through face pulls, through rowing, but my favorite way to train rear delts is through rear delt flies. it's basically the opposite movement of a chest fly, right? You grab the, like the machine, and you kind of pull backwards like this. Look into rear delt flies. These are, my favorite ways of training, your rear delts. Next, biceps. Biceps are very aesthetic muscle, especially if you can get the bicep vein at rest. Unfortunately for me, my genetics just don't allow me to achieve the bicep vein at rest. Like, I have good biceps, right? And I can curl very heavy. And, even when I was super lean, I just couldn't get the bicep vein. But if you can, it's very nice. Very aesthetic muscle. It's very nice looking on the arm. Very attractive. Definitely going into alpha tier. Next, side delts. High S tier. Very, very high S tier. Okay, if it doesn't, there we go. Side delts, high S tier. You probably expected this. The side delts is what gives like the cherry on top for the V taper, right? So the V taper is the most important thing, which obviously is why you can see these two muscles are so highly ranked on the on the list. Your side delts just give the V taper like the cherry on top. Like, if you see here, there's my side delts are popping like a little bit, right? If I had bigger side delts, they would be absolutely perfect. When you do a lat spread, they don't really show that much, but side delts are super, super important, right? They're very, very, very important when it gives like the cherry on top, the perfect point. That's what, you stand and you have these cap delts. It's because of the side delts, man. Right? So side delts and rear delts, they give your shoulders that pop. Side delts definitely S tier. The way I train these, simple lateral raises. You can do any variation of these. And this is a gate kept secret, by the way, behind the neck presses. Don't tell me shoulder impingement, whatever. That's a myth. It's bullshit. It's been proven that it's a myth. And I've been doing behind the neck presses for ages. My shoulder health is fucking phenomenal. I have insane shoulder mobility, bro. I can go all the way to the back. I can fucking touch your whatever, right? I have insane shoulder mobility. This actually helps. Behind the neck presses actually help with shoulder mobility. It doesn't destroy them. So lateral raises and behind the neck presses, and you will have insane 3D side delts in no time. Next, we have triceps. Triceps give your arms the size that you are looking for, and that's what we all want, right? We want big anaconda arms. And so for that, triceps go right into the alpha tier. And honestly, man, your triceps are, they should be way more important than your biceps simply for arm size, right? The way I train these is to simple tricep pushdowns and dumbbell skull crushers. But you will see a lot, if not most, of your growth from the compound movements, the pressing compound movements, like the bench press, which also grows your chest, and the incline dumbbell press and overhead presses. All presses will give you like probably 70% of your tricep gains. So focus on those and get strong on those. Get strong and you will get aesthetic. I promise you that. So yeah, this was a nice, quick, short tier list video for you, bro. The most aesthetic muscles. This is how you pretty much like, if you focus on purely S and A tier, like you have 70% of your body's aesthetics. Obviously, I'm not saying don't train legs. Don't be a fucking monkey and train your legs. But I'm just saying these are very, very important. The S tier and the A tier. Spartan and Alpha tier. And yeah, man, this was a nice, quick little video. Again, let me know if you enjoy these tier list videos. But other than that, bro, if you want to make a fuckload of money doing what I do, I teach you. It's very easy. First link in the description, brother. Other than that, take care, and I'll see you soon. Goodbye.